All right, we're gonna watch this video from Sneako on Fresh and Fit, and then I'm gonna make some commentary on it.
And you're asking why that's happened. It's because of social media. It's because of how everything is shifting. All you girls, like, you probably all think you're tens. You probably all think that you deserve like a six-figure man or seven-figure man. A lot of these times, like, a lot of you want to just fuck with celebrities. A lot of you have a false idea of what the dating marketplace is like because you're fucking with the top like 10%, 5% of guys who are fucking most of the girls. So you think that's what all guys are like, and when you meet an average guy, you think he's below average, and really that's the norm. So everything's getting separated, and men are getting sadder because of that. Men are not being noticed. Most men feel invisible because, and you're asking why that's happening.
So this is actually profound. This is actually a really deep point that kind of explains exactly what's going on in the dating market, and it's simple, but it's also like really, really deep, because not only does it explain female nature, but it explains female intelligence, and it explains female arrogance, because they don't realize that they're essentially, well, I mean, aside from the obvious fact that it's whoring yourself out, right? Aside from the obvious fact that we live in a highly promiscuous and, immoral culture that has no semblance of wholesome values anymore, until they hit the wall at age 30 or 35. And okay, I've had my fun. I saw a meme the other day that said, okay, I slept with all the guys I wanted to sleep with. Now it's time to find a man and settle down. And that's pretty much true. It's just that's what women are doing. They're going out and sleeping around, and men would do that too if we had the option. And so it's which is crazy, right? And it's like, it's just the whole thing from every angle. It's a mind fuck. But not only does it show that, but it also shows that women are just not that intelligent. Because what do you think's going to happen if the average dude is left alone, is viewed as not worthy, is just, you ignore him, leave him on read, right? And you chase dudes who have yachts, and you chase dudes who have movies in circulation. You chase guys who are driving Bugattis. It's just like the average guy can't get that. So what do you think's going to happen? There's going to be this big vacuum of really unfulfilled, unhappy men, and then you got a whole bunch of women who are going out and seeking temporary enjoyment, right? Which that's all it is temporary, because those guys who drive the Bugattis and have the yachts and they have movies in circulation, those guys are not going to settle down with you and make you a fulfilled wife. And we all want that. Women want that too. It's just they want to have their cake and eat it too, because this is what feminism taught them. Oh yeah, girl, you can go have sex, go be a skank. It's empowering, right? This is what they were brought up on. Oh, I'm a woman now. I got my freedom. I don't have to just be a homemaker, a wife to some man, even though that's the best thing for you, even though statistically it's been proven that women are happiest being homemakers. Hey, you know what? You got your freedom, go have fun, but record scratch, right? There's consequences, you see? So they're not thinking about the consequences. Not only are they not thinking about, the consequences to promiscuity and their own vapid decisions, they don't care about men. They don't care at all about men. So anytime feminism tries to tell you that that it's about equality, it's not. Feminism is not about equality. Feminism is a gender supremacy cult. That's what feminism is, modern feminism. Right? It throws men under the bus, attacks masculinity, right? Uplifts any female, no matter how bad her behavior is, right? No matter how dangerous, unhealthy, toxic she is, they support her just because of, just based on her gender. That's the same as bigotry. That's the same as blatant racism. It's sexism is what it is, right? And this is the toxic, damaging tenets of feminism. And what really blows my mind is just how easily manipulated modern women are, and it really speaks volumes on their intelligence, right? Also, it speaks volumes about their lack of upbringing. Why are their parents not instilling in them morals? Why are their parents not warning them about consequences? I mean, I knew this stuff in my 20s. It's just like, it's basic. It's just basic logic. You're gonna get an STD. You're gonna get pregnant eventually. You're gonna damage your emotions, right? So not only that, but they don't care about men. They don't care that the average man is, thrown under the bus, left alone, lonely. And there's going to be consequences for that. And we've already seen consequences for that. There just is. You marginalize and ignore an entire segment of the population, there's going to be repercussions. Men are tired of, and that's just observable. You just Google it, men are tired of being thrown under the bus and ignored, and it's just like, what do you think's going to happen? You think all men are just going to step up and level up, and that's another thing. There's all this grifting out there. There's all this, bullshit motivation videos from a million dudes who are trying to cash in on loneliness, on male loneliness. And even though most of these guys speak red pill truths, your Andrew Tates, your Rollo Tomassis, your I should be careful about Rollo Tomassi because he's not that bad. But your Andrew Tates, your Fresh and Fits, you know the guys, right? Who come out and say, "Oh, just do better. Be a 1% man. Be a top 10% man. Do better." Da, da, da. You're playing into hypergamy, first of all. Second of all guys can't do that, right? Leveling up is not the answer because not all guys can do it. And let's say everyone levels up, then the new normal, who's going to be after that? It's not like, oh, well, guys need to level up and then everything's going to be okay. It's like, the bar is always going to be higher if you understand what hypergamy means. Hypergamy is she chooses the best guy. So if the new normal is like uber successful, what's the best guy? It just doesn't make sense. It's like eventually, the dam's going to break and anyway, right? So men are not loved or appreciated for what we are. We're loved and appreciated. I wouldn't even use the word loved. I would just say I would say we're used for what we can produce. A man is used for what he can produce. I was reading this survey that asked women, what's some annoying things that men do that you don't like, and like 75% of the answers were no motivation. What does that tell you? Why does a woman want you to be motivated? Because she wants what you can produce. She wants your money. She wants your resources. She wants the freedom that comes from that, right? That's in her nature. So women, I always say this, women live vicariously through man's success. Women live vicariously through man's success. They use us. They manipulate us for what our success brings. Women often don't marry the man. They marry the lifestyle. They don't necessarily love the man. They might say they do and, blah, blah, blah. But if you remove the resources, you remove the house, you remove his ability to take you on vacation, you remove his ability to take you out to dinner, remove those things that you like, I guarantee her love is going to shrivel up and she's going to quote unquote get bored, right? This is because female nature is solipsistic for the most part. Now in the Bible, it says if you find a good woman, she's more precious than, or she has more value than gems and gold and precious stones, something like that in Proverbs. That's true, man. Because it's rare as heck to find a quality female who's not just an appendage, who's not just a product that you bought. What happens when you go out and you get the PhD, or you go out and you start the business, or you go out and you do whatever that brings in those six figures so you can get a woman, because these days, you know, you need six figures. What happens is, you know, she uses you, right? That gets the woman. You buy the woman. You get the... It's just like Scarface, in that movie Scarface. He says, first you get the money, then you get the woman. In America, first you get the money, then you get the woman. And that's Western materialism, but it also plays into female solipsism, female selfishness, female narcissism. Me, 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 me. She doesn't care about the man. Women don't care about men for the most part. Maybe like Solomon said in Proverbs, there's a rare one, right? Who's more rare than gold and precious, you know, silver. There's people who spend their whole lives looking for gold out in Alaska or California or wherever. They spend their whole lives looking for gold and they still don't become rich. Imagine how hard it is to find a quality woman. Again, you remove the things that, you know, she likes, the resources, the ability to do this, the ability to do that, and then all of a sudden she's bored. She don't want you anymore. This is female nature. So not only is it dangerous to marginalize men, right? And if you think about it, it's like, well, of course men are committing suicide. Of course men are extremely depressed, because we're working hard, and we're supposed to be working hard for a family, but we're working hard just to survive, and we don't get anything. Like we, you know, like 150 years ago, if you worked hard, if you were a hard worker, it could get you a house. It could get you, you know, whatever, as far as like what you needed to survive was all that, you know, you needed to have a family. Okay, I'm working hard. I got a house, and you know, that's what a man was, a provider. But now you're working hard, and you can barely afford to pay rent and put food on the table in a 1-bedroom apartment, and you're competing with guys who have yachts. You're competing with guys who are driving around in $5 million cars. And these guys have a harem of women, 20, 30, 40, 50 women in their rotation. And you can't even get a text back. You can't even get a response on, you know, whatever dating site. You're paying $30 a month for some dating site, and you're not even getting matches. You know, and you're like, what's wrong with me? I'm not bad looking. Girls have told me I'm cute in the past. I've had girlfriends in the past. Why is this not working? Because you can't compete with the resources that these guys out here have. You can't compete. This is hypergamy, and it's hypergamy supercharged. And you look at it and you're like, damn, that's the female heart. Now again, I said earlier that men would do the same thing. Yes, but I think that men would be more responsible. That's my opinion. I think that men at some point would say, you know what? And actually, if it was changed, if men could do the same thing, it'd be a different ball game anyways. Because the reason, I think a lot of the reason why men, when they get to that point, when they get to the point where they're able to have a harem, I think the reason why they do it is because they never had access to it before. If we removed that whole part where like sex was hard to get, I think the world would be an incredibly different place. Because I think people would be like, okay, cool. You know, like if you go to like Europe or Amsterdam or something, and they have, you know, like not only is like weed legal, well, you know, weed's starting to become legal in, you know, America for the most part too, but not only like in Amsterdam or, you know, wherever, you know, in Eastern Europe, weed is legal, but like drinking age is 18, okay? Um, Sex is just not viewed as like such a weird thing because they didn't have that kind of Puritan Christian background foundation. It's not quite the same thing. So women are not necessarily able to, even though it's changing to more, you know, American, more Western, it's not the same thing in the sense that women are not able to like hold as much power, and they don't care as much. Like when you have a scenario where sex is just not that hard to get, it changes everything. It's like people are just more relaxed, like, oh yeah, you know, we can have sex, whatever, but you know, it kind of, I think you guys get my point, where like it kind of leads to like, yeah, it's not that big a deal, I can get it, but what I really want is love. Because it's like, if you hold the carrot at the end of like a horse's face and he never gets the carrot, you know, eventually he's gonna be like, I don't even know what a carrot tastes like, or like, you know, but if you give a horse a bushel of carrots, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, carrots, cool. Like he's not gonna care as much. The reason why sex is so emphasized, and the reason why women are able to have so much power using sex, is because it's not accessible. If it was accessible, people would probably want love more. Because actually, the truth is love is far less accessible than sex. Love is far less accessible than sex. If you think about it, probably only a small percentage of people in human history ever really even found true love. But sex is, I mean, you can get sex. It's hard to get, sure, but it's not impossible. But love is like, wow, that's like you find the right person, a great person, and that's hard to do, man. And it just makes it that much harder, you know, when you have all this emphasis on sex. I hope you see my point there. Anyway, yeah, this is not smart, man, and this is the truth. Let's watch this again.
Happen. It's because of social media. It's because of how everything is shifting. All you girls, like, you probably all think you're tens. You probably all think that you deserve like a 6-figure man or 7-figure man. And a lot of these times, like, a lot of you want to just fuck with celebrities. A lot of you have a false idea of what the dating marketplace is like because you're fucking with the top like 10%, 5% of guys who are fucking most of the girls. So you think
exactly. So they really have no idea and no clue of what the average guy goes through, and in their mind, they think that the average guy is the guy that they're messing around with, and they don't even realize that they ignore 90% of the guys out there. 90% of the guys out there are just invisible to them, and they don't even have any idea. That doesn't even register to them because they don't care. They don't care about the average man. The only time they care about the average man is when the average man is talking crap about them. That's the only time. And what they'll do is they'll come out of the woodwork to call you an incel, come out of the woodwork to say you're a misogynist, you're a woman hater, woo woo woo, because that's a threat. That's the only reason they care, is because it's a threat. It's a threat to their autonomy, and what their autonomy really is just blatant, unrestrained narcissism and degeneracy, really. Because when you have that much freedom, and I'm not saying that women shouldn't have autonomy, but because that comes with basic human rights, basic human freedoms, that's fine. But the reason why they really want autonomy is because they don't want that, or excuse me, autonomy to them translates into, I shouldn't be judged for my promiscuity, which means I want autonomy without consequences. I want autonomy without responsibility, which doesn't work, because you can't be an autonomous entity on you know, ruling yourself. It just doesn't work if in the real world if you can't deal with responsibility, with accountability. We all have to be accountable. We all have to be responsible, and that comes with freedom. If you have freedom and autonomy, you have consequence of accountability. But this is the reason why they come out of the woodwork to attack the only time they even care about the average guy is when the average guy is exposing their behavior. Then they come out of the woodwork to attack because they hate accountability. They hate responsibility because they know that deep down their behavior is not moral. Their behavior is not, and, the devil or darkness or evil or whatever has done a great deal to remove that knowledge. A lot of these women out here don't even realize that what they're doing is wrong. It's one thing to do something wrong and know what you're doing is wrong. It's another thing to do something that's wrong and not even realize that it's wrong. Because you're so damaged and you're so sick. You're so wrapped up in the sickness of degeneracy that you don't even know what you're doing is wrong. I mean, that's a bad place to be in, man. That means you have no moral compass. That means you have no values. Right? We're essentially, if you look behind the veil, what's happening is there's a dissipation of values, a dissipation of morals, and wholesome anything related to wholesomeness is being dissolved. And you look at that and you're like, oh wow, that's that's not good for your future, man. That's not good for the future of our children. It's like, okay, if this is what you want to just ruin humanity, fine. But I think a lot of these women deep down, they want kids, they want children, they want family, they want love. I believe, and it's sad because, it's just sad because, eventually they're going to try to settle down. And then you have these horrible marriages, these horrible relationships that always end up bad, like Kim Kardashian. I mean, you could say, oh, she's just, she's a celebrity. She's not the average. Bullshit, man. I constantly see marriages failing. I constantly see women who are following the same footsteps as Kim Kardashian. You sleep around in your teens and 20s, you're probably not going to have a good marriage in your 30s and 40s. I would say, I mean, it kills it. It kills your humanity. It kills your ability to be a good spouse. And then if you think about it, it's a mismatch. Because you got these guys out here who are like, hey, I don't have access to sex like women have access to sex. I don't have freedom and carte blanche to just sleep with anybody. And then they just become these yes men, these beta men who are like, okay, well, I hope that, you settle down with me and I'll treat you like a queen. And I'm not like those other guys. And so they play this, game. They play this role where like, I'm not like those other guys. They see the alpha guys in the gym. They see the assholes, that women are sleeping with and having sex with. And then they try to be different. Well, I'm the guy you can settle down with. I'm the good guy. And this is their game. It's not that she loves you more than those other guys. It's that you present an opportunity for her to fulfill the other thing she wants, which is to have a nice family. But what you don't realize and what she doesn't realize is that's not real. Because by the time you hook up with her, by the time you guys get married, not only is she damaged, but you're not a real man. You have to play this savior role. And then your relationship becomes about that. And she's always trying to like pretend that like, oh, he was the guy that I really chose, or he was the guy that I really wanted. No, he wasn't. He was not the guy you really wanted to be with. You wanted to be with Chad. You wanted to be with Tyrone. You wanted to be with this guy, that guy. And you slept with them and this, that, and the third. And they didn't want you. They pumped and dumped. And then finally, when you got done riding the cock carousel, and even let's say you didn't want to marry Chad or Tyrone, whatever, but still, by the time you get to this guy, you're used goods. Your emotions are jaded. You've had to lie and manipulate and cover your tracks and this, that, and the third. Probably got STDs. Your body's used. And this guy's trying to act like you're still the prize when he's got to play cleanup guy to all this used baggage that you got. Right? And that's not fair. That's not right, really. And it's like you gotta emasculate this guy. And that's what modern feminism is trying to do anyways. It's trying to emasculate men. Which is just, I mean, if you think about it, how would that not backfire? Right? So you emasculate men in order to settle down with a docile beta yes man. Are you not going to be bored with that guy? Of course you're going to be bored with that guy. Because he's not a leader. Because that's what modern feminism is doing, is it's taking away male leadership. And the irony of that is that women are attracted to male leadership. And I'm not saying you have to be violent. I'm not saying you have to be confrontational. I'm not saying that you have to be toxic as a man in order to be a leader. But when you have to sacrifice your values because no guy wants a woman who's been used and passed around. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. Even these white knight male feminists, the only reason they're doing what they're doing is because they don't have any other options. It's a ploy. It's a fake persona. There's no real male feminists. Okay, the only reason you're pretending to be a male feminist is because you can't get any, aside from pretending to be an ally. That's it. So you've sacrificed your masculinity, you sacrifice your values as a man, and settled down with used goods because that's your options. Because you have no other options. That's why you got to do what you got to do. A guy who's got options, he doesn't need to compromise. He doesn't need to play a role and pretend to be a male feminist ally. There's no such thing as a male feminist ally because feminism throws men under the bus. Unless you have a cuck fetish, which I would argue is not natural anyways. Of course it's not natural, right? So there's something wrong with you anyways. It's not normal or natural for a man to be subservient to a woman, but this is what feminism wants. Oh, accept me for my horrible past. But you have to jump through all these hoops in order for me to accept you. Not only is it not fair, it's just not rational. It's like you're living a phony marriage that's in sham, a sham marriage. It's not real. It's phony. She's choosing you because you're the fall guy, you're the cleanup guy, and he's choosing her because he has no other options. And these guys who say, "Oh, you're judging," it's like you're just little, I don't know, man. You're just little sneaky guys who are trying to sneak in and I don't even know, man. That to me that's weak. And again, I'm not saying male leadership has to be toxic, but it requires values. You need values, and any man who's a real man, who's honest to himself, doesn't want used goods. No, I don't want to share my wife with 50 other dudes. Sorry, that's not appealing to me. No, I don't want to marry a woman who's been with 50 other dudes. That's not appealing to me. It's weird. It's like, and men shouldn't go out and be with 50 women either. That's not cool either, really. If we're talking about real morals, I'm not like Andrew Tate. I'm not, or Fresh and Fit. I'm not hyping up double standards. Men need to be monogamous too, in the sense that they don't sleep with a bunch of women before they meet their wife. Just like women shouldn't sleep with a bunch of men before they meet their husband. Because that's immoral. And it's damaging to both sides. Although I would argue that it's more damaging to women because women are more emotionally attached to sex. And women have more access to sex, so they can have it more often, which is far more dangerous. So these are some of the ramifications that we have. This is what's going on. To me, as a Christian, this is all just part and parcel for the end times. This is just the destruction of our society, and it's blatant and it's obvious. And there are men who are coming out and telling the truth and presenting the truth on a platform, and women are listening and they're rejecting the truth. They're rejecting what men are saying. They're saying, in effect, I still want my cake and eat it too. I don't care how it affects my children in the future. I don't care how it affects my future husband. I don't care how it affects my future relationships. I want what I want right now because I can get it. And a lot of it is delusion. A lot of it is delusion because modern feminism, the modern music, these the Cardi B's of the world, the Megan Thee Stallions of the world are out here telling these women that they can be skanks and get away with it, and it's powerful and it's empowering, and it's use men, rob men, men are only good for resources. I mean, it's just, if you don't see the devil in those details, then you really aren't paying attention. This is destruction of humanity, and it's really aimed at destroying the family unit, the nuclear family. Why? Because strong families make a strong country. Strong families are a strong testimony before God. The evil powers that be hate that. They don't want a country united and strong under God. Think about it. It's common. It's common sense. It's common sense. Yeah, destroy the family unit. How do you do that? Destroy the woman. If the woman is the weaker vessel, she's not as intelligent as the man. Clearly. Because if they were, they'd be like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm out here. I got OnlyFans. I'm promiscuous, this, that, and the third. Well, how do you think that's good for your future? It's not. There is no future in that. The only future in that is STDs, destruction. Go listen to Riley Reid. She talks about how her family disowned her. She talks about how she's lonely. Well, she's married. She got married recently, but before that, she came out, and think about her husband. How what he has to put up with. Imagine sleeping with a woman, and her videos are. She's famous for being a prostitute, basically. Her videos are everywhere. Imagine that. There's 200 videos of her with 5 guys at a time busting nuts on her face out there floating around, and you're kissing her and hugging her at night and telling her you love her. Imagine how disgusting that guy should feel, but he probably doesn't because he's a white knight and he's got no other options. And I'll say this, Riley Reid, I actually listened to one of her interviews, and this is the interview that I'm talking about. Go watch her interviews where she talks about how sad she is because she was a porn star. And in that interview, I thought, like, wow, she's actually kind of got a cute personality. She's not one of these vapid, materialistic, dumb women who are so narcissistic that they can't even smile, or she actually has a decent personality. And I'm like, dang, she could have really made some guy very happy and in love. But now she's got this patched together relationship, because that's the best you can do when you were a skank before you got married. You patch together this relationship, right? Patch together. Oh, I accept her for her past. All right. Does she accept your flaws? No. You got to have your P's and Q's together. You got to have a great job, this, that, and the third. There's another meme that I saw recently where it says, like, women of today expect men to be 10 times better than men were 100 years ago, and women are 10 times worse. And that's true. What kind of value is Riley Reid or any of these porn stars going to give to their children? You're done. You have no values. You did porn. First of all, I doubt they would even attempt to give their children values, because they probably don't even know what values are, or morals, or whatever. Because there's this new age mentality out there that's like, basically just do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt is the whole of the law, right? Think about that. Google what that means. Google who said that. Right? Do what you want. Right? That's the best. What do they have to? What values do they have to teach their children? And if they did porn, I mean, Riley Reid has done a bunch of gangbangs, you know, and it's just like 20 dudes at a time, 20 black guys. Is she a good woman? Is that a prize? And I look at her personality, and I'm like, dang, she ruined herself. I don't care how cute her personality is, how sweet she is, how cute of a smile she has. She slept with 500 dudes on camera. It's over, man. It's over right there. You can't. Come on. It's like, you want to marry that? Yeah. You got no self-esteem, buddy. And I've said it before, and I hope I don't say it again, but I argue that that's all we got to choose from at this point. You know, like one of those, game machines at like a bowling alley or a pool hall. Those little claw machines where you put the quarter in or whatever, and you use this little mechanism to like grab this doll or prize or whatever and put it through the hole. Like, women think they're the prize, but really in reality, they're all damaged. Every prize you're pulling out of that dating trash bin is damaged used goods. Who's moral? What woman out there has a lay count lower than 5? What attractive woman? Let's put it that way. Physically attractive woman. Yeah, there's a lot of women out there who are not that attractive, who probably have a lay count less than 5. But again, who wants to marry an unattractive woman? Anyway, I think you guys get my point. He really just he exposes it, and these women.
You think that's what all guys are like, and when you meet an average guy, you think he's below average, and really that's the norm. So everything's getting separated, and men are getting sadder because of that. Men are not being noticed. Most men.
And look at these women; they're just like, they don't care. They're listening, but they don't care. They're listening, but they're not hearing him. Because look at this woman; look at this hair. I mean, the reason why these women come on the show is because they're trying to advertise their OnlyFans. They're trying to advertise their Twitter. It's a business to them. Sex is a business to these women. Sex is a business. Women exchange sexuality for something that's valuable. Resources. Vacations. Right? Materialism. And they have no clue that this is wrong. They have no clue that, because this is the society that we live in. But anyway, I'm going to end it there, guys. Appreciate you listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.